Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome back, everybody, to a brand new video on the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at the 10 things that PUBG has removed. Now, PUBG has removed a lot of different things, like features and items within this game. However, it's not quite like Fortnite, where they have, like, a lot of items that just get taken out one day for no really apparent reason. But PUBG, usually when they add something in, it stays unless it's broken. But there have been a couple of things here and there, some features and some other items that might surprise you that have gone from the game. And just before we get into that, the love on these PUBG videos has been mind-blowing recently, and we've been getting over 3,000 likes on pretty much every single video, so we're gonna aim for the exact same thing in this. We're gonna shoot for the stars and aim for 3,000. I really appreciate if you guys can leave a thumbs up. It does help me out a ton. Make sure you are subscribed if you are brand new to this channel. As soon as I get my brand new computer in, I'm gonna be live streaming this game very regularly, so if you'd like to come out and hang with the community, then make sure you stick around here. And also, if you have not already joined my Discord server, then go check the link in the description. If you'd like to become a part of a PUBG community, then the Discord is the perfect place for you to be able to speak to me and different people there. So go check the link and go join that up. And also, let me know in the comment section in this video, how many of these removed things did you remember when you were playing the game? Because a lot of thest things are some that only the OGest of OG players are going to remember, but a lot of them are also kind of fairly recent, so we have a big variety to talk about today. So how many of these do you remember? Let me know in the comment section. And without further ado, let's go get started on the 10 things that PUBG removed. So coming in at our number 10 spot is something that you may remember seeing and that was supposed to be in the game, but never actually really happened. So I'm just going to say that it was removed because I don't believe that we're ever going to see this unless they bring it in at some point later. But this is going to be the ZIL 313 truck. This is actually a vehicle that was supposed to be drivable in the game. It was like an armored truck that had like an open top variant, a closed top. It looks something like this, and supposed to be more like a heavy duty kind of vehicle. But this never ended up getting added whatsoever. It's not in the brand new map. It's not in Miramar, and it's definitely not in Arendelle, and I don't know if there's any news about if they ever intend to bring this into the game, but this was supposed to be a thing for a while that players were waiting for. We've known about this truck for a while, and if it's not been added now, I don't think it's ever going to be, so I'm going to say that this is a vehicle that has been removed from PUBG, and it's kind of a shame because I think it looks awesome. But coming in at our number 9 spot is going to be an attachment, in fact. Not a lot of attachments end up getting removed from this game, but there are definitely a few, and this is the extended drum mag attachment. Now, you've probably never seen this before unless you were a really early on player. Back when the Tommy gun, yes, the Tommy gun was only in airdrops. Like, can you believe that? That was like back up in the day when the Tommy gun was actually kind of sweet, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was nice, but they had an attachment specifically for that weapon. Nowadays, you can just put on the extended mag SMG if you're running the Tommy, but it used to have its own specific kind of attachment, which I think is pretty neat, but it has since been removed and it's long gone. Of all the things that get scrapped from this game, I think that attachments are probably of the most interesting because, like I said earlier, it's not like Fortnite where entire guns will just literally get removed on a certain day. Normally, when PUBG adds a weapon, it's going to stay for a long time, and it's going to get tweaked and rebalanced until they feel like they have it absolutely perfect. But the attachments that normally can come along with those guns are on the chopping block and can definitely get deleted. Now, coming in at our number 8 spot is something that I don't really remember too often. Like, now that I think about it, I do remember this being a thing, but it's a feature that's included in other games, so I don't really bat an eye when they removed it from this game. But there used to be an auto reload mechanic for every single weapon in PUBG. This is like almost alpha days, right? When you would run out like a complete mag out, it would reload for you. You wouldn't have to hit R, or maybe if you pick up a gun and just pick up the bullets, it would do the automatic like reload animation without you hitting any keys, which is kind of weird because now you always have to manually do it, and it's just like a force of habit. We don't even like think twice about reloading. It just happens. To be honest, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. You press one key and like they made a mechanic that just instead of auto doing it, you have to do it manually. It does add a slight skill gap to the game because some players are just very slow on the reload or forget to when they're supposed to. So it does kind of increase the skill gap, which I do like, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But it's kind of interesting to think that that used to be a thing for a little while anyways. But coming in at our number 7 spot is one of the most welcome changes that I absolutely love. I can't even like imagine what it's like going back to play like this, but I was watching some of my old gameplay because I had like this whole file stored up of really old like gameplay when I first started playing, and there were clothes spawns everywhere. Do you guys remember that? So amongst your weapons while you're looting in all these buildings, there'd be like coats, hats, pants, and basically gloves, everything that's like cluttered around the stuff that you actually need, just so you could kind of dress your character differently however you want to. That was like a nice feature, but it added so much clutter that I didn't realize I didn't like. It was a big part of PUBG for a while, and I think a lot of players just accepted this as being a thing, but when they removed it, we realized how much better the game actually was and more efficient. It was just such an unnecessary thing to have that much clothes laying around, and I also think that it added a value to having like more valuable kind of rare clothes on your character, as it's not available in game anymore, right? You couldn't find like a standard coat or something. You have to get it out of drops or off the Steam market or whatever. Slight correction to the previous statement, I still think there's hats that spawn. Like, I've seen a couple of those, and I don't know if they're just dropped randomly when people pick up helmets, or they actually do have hat spawns, but I have seen a couple laying around, so someone could probably correct me on that. I think it's just when people pick up helmets and lose the hat that they're already wearing, but I could be wrong, let me know. Taking our number 6 spot for today is another one of those, like, removed attachments, one of the scrapped ones that used to be a thing as well, and believe it or not, when the VSS was revered as an airdrop-only weapon, and it was, like, godly if you had one of those, it's still pretty rare as even a world spawn today, but back when it was even rare in drops only, it had its own set of attachments as well. Nowadays, for the magazine, you can just put on like a standard AR one if you want to, or a sniper rifle one, and also like a cheek pad, that kind of stuff, but you used to have its own sort of magazine attachment and also a cheek pad attachment as well. I don't remember playing with these too well, if at all, because they were very temporary, and I didn't go for drops all the time back up in the day, and I didn't get the VSS a lot, so I don't think I actually ended up playing with these. They did the same thing, but it had its own specific unique attachment, which I think is cool. I'm glad it's not anymore. Like, you can use a variety of ones to put on the VSS, and it's more in line with the other sniper rifles, but it is cool to see how these things were removed later on. Let me know in the comment section if this was ever something you ended up playing with. I don't have any memories of using these specific attachments with the weapon, but maybe you do, and let me know in the comments if that's the case. Taking our number 5 spot is kind of a two-part change here. There's two items that are very important that have been either put in airdrops and away from world spawns, or vice versa, taking away from the airdrops and put into the world. Now, this is kind of weird because a couple weeks ago, I was discussing that level 3 helmets are now only available in airdrop crates. I believe on Xbox, they've made this change as well. On mobile, I think you can still find them on the ground. You guys could probably let me know about that, but on PC, you can only find level 3 helmets in airdrops, right? We all know that. That's been a change that they've made. I don't know if I necessarily like it. I agree with the change, that it's good for balance, but it just kind of sucks that I don't get to use it that much anymore, and neither do a lot of people. But also, they just recently taken the M24 out of airdrop crates and putting it as a world spawn as sort of an alternative to the Kar 98, and they've nerfed the damage on the weapon as well, because they kind of had to, as it would be a little bit overpowered. But now we have a slightly better version of the Kar 98 that is a world spawn, so they've taken out the M24 and putting it with the regular weapons, which is crazy. I think down the road, it's going to get to a point where very soon, most of the original airdrop only weapons are going to be put into the regular game as they add in like brand new stuff that are only going to be in airdrops. It's going to kind of be a continuous cycle of weapons getting added, and like their newest stuff and their best stuff is going to be put in airdrops, while the old like good ones that used to be in airdrops are going to be put into the world. That's kind of the trend that I'm seeing, but we'll see where it goes in the future. Taking our number 4 spot today is a change that I agree with, but I also think it should maybe have its own separate playlist for the people that like to do this kind of thing. But a couple months ago, do you guys remember that PUBG used to have both rain and fog environment games? To be honest, I talked about this a couple videos ago, and a surprisingly low amount of people remember this being in the game. This is before the days of Xbox, long before mobile, and this was removed, I guess, I don't know, maybe about 2-3 months after it being a thing. But there used to be, in the regular rotation, you would load up Erangel, and it would either be raining really hard, so like the sound would be kind of muffled if you want to hear for footsteps and gunshots and that kind of thing, and there would also be fog games where you literally had like 10 feet of visibility. You'd have to turn your brightness all the way down if you want to get at least a little bit more of an edge, but it overall generally sucked in my opinion. Like, I didn't like the rain and fog games, and I know some people did, and that's why I wish I had its own playlist for those kind of niche players, but I wasn't a great big fan of it, and I'm glad it's not in the regular rotation anymore. Coming in at the number 3 spot is PUBG removed the ability of you to put on the 15x scope or the 8x scope on any of the assault rifles. They have slowly cracked down on this, right? Like back in the day, the meta was the 8x M16 and you could destroy people. And then even, in fact, if you managed to get a 15x out of an airdrop, you most likely got a sniper rifle along with it. But even if you wanted to throw that on the AR, you were free to do so. And up until recently, you also could put on 8x scopes on assault rifles, but that's been changed now. Highest magnification that can be put on is a 6. which sucks because I kind of missed that freedom of having it. It wasn't always great. Some of it was maybe arguably overpowered, especially with the M16, but on guns like an AK, a 15X is not going to do anything. Taking our number 2 spot, climbing up to the top of this is something that I couldn't even find gameplay for. It's literally that old, and I'm so happy that it was removed. But there used to be a time in PUBG, we are like, nowadays we're used to going up just to regular airdrop crates and then tabbing up there, instantly opening the crate and just taking whatever it is, like getting in and out really quick in like half a second basically, you know what I'm saying? But when airdrops were first introduced and earlier on in the game, there were casting times for opening the drop, you know, so like casting times for when you're like applying on a med kit or you're using a booster or something like that. Takes a couple seconds for something to activate. There was a casting time for opening airdrops. I cannot remember for the life of me how many seconds exactly it was to open a drop, but if anybody else remembers this and was playing this earlier on, you remember how many seconds it was, please let me know, because this is driving me up a wall. And like I said, I couldn't really find any good gameplay of it, unfortunately. I am so glad they removed that, because nowadays it's already risky enough to go for a drop and then quickly tab and then get everything out of there and escape with your life. That doesn't always happen, and imagine if it still took a couple seconds to even open the drop. It would be a madhouse. So I'm glad that that has since been removed. Now finally, ladies and gentlemen, taking the number 1 spot of things that PUBG removed is none other than the blue blood patch. And this was a huge fad for such a long time, and everybody was doing it. It was a little bit of advantage. I'm going to explain why, but if in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, there was a way where you could get blue blood splatters on other players when you like tag them up with your weapon, and it looked something a little bit like this. I'll put some pictures up on screen right now so you can see it. And compared to the red blood, you might not like understand the direct advantages right at first, but when you were running the blue blood settings against other players, it made it extremely easy for you to see who you've already tagged up, and like if you hit them from farther away, it's a lot more easy to see than the red blood effect is. So tagging up people and knowing where they are made everything a lot easier. It was especially good in squad games when you could tell your team how many times you've hit somebody and where, and you could get like confirmed hits. It just made everything a lot more organized, and as far as I'm aware, I don't think it's a thing anymore. It should be patched out by now, but to keep your game in English or whatever other like language you wanted it in, besides Korean, I believe you had to go into the settings, go into the properties, and then change a certain setting to the Korean rating. It was a really weird process. You had to jump through a lot of hoops, but you could get blue blood enabled, and I guess it gave you a little bit of advantage. It wasn't crazy overpowered, but it was a thing that I do believe has been patched out since and removed. If there is a way to still get it, then let me know in the comments, but I don't believe there is anymore. But anyways, that's going to be the video for today of 10 things that PUBG ended up removing, and let me know in the comment section how many of these you remember. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you are brand new to this channel, and go join my Discord server down in the description. Follow me on Twitter, and without further ado, guys, I will see you all on the next stream or the next video. Peace out.